The two biggest teams in the country are going head to head. Jeopardy, rivalry, antipathy, Premier League points, and history is all at stake. Manchester United are woeful and in embarrassing form. Liverpool, on the other hand, are simply sensational. Arne Slot is getting everything right. He has got the Midas touch. Here to help me preview this huge clash is the one and only Robbo. Robbo, always an honour to have you on the channel. Thank you so much for finding the time. Right, as always, Robbo, it's great to have you on the channel. Thank you so much for finding the time. Massive game for you, Manchester United. You presumably are so confident, more confident than ever going into this one.
Do you know what, mate? Yeah, but I'm still, I'm of an age, aren't I? I'm of an age where Manchester United spoilt my life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Alex Ferguson spoiled so many seasons for me. So I know it's not, I know it's not them, and I know that's a daft thing to say, and I know we've got a great record against them. I know all the league form points to easy win for Liverpool. I know the slow in midfield and the porous in defence, and we're fantastic. I know all of that. There's still something somewhere saying, yeah, but it's Man United, mate. And there's been so many times on both sides around where one has spoiled the party for the other. Like I can remember being on the Cop in 1992, I think it was. Obviously going back here, when Leeds ended up winning the league,
Yeah.
and we beat Man United at Anfield, and we weren't very good then. But I can remember being one of the people on the Cop singing, "You lost the league on Merseyside,"
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
so there's still like a thing in me where I'm like, to come on here and be like, yeah, they're absolutely crap and we're brilliant. I can't quite bring myself to do it. Do you know what I mean? But
It does
look
feel
in
like
the
that though, Robbo.
in
From the outside looking in, it does feel like that because it's yours and because you're so desperate for the victory and because of the sort of antipathy and history between the two clubs. I think it's very difficult for you to see it like that. Like it's the two biggest clubs in English football going head to head, the rivalry of the cities, the rivalry of the foot. I get it, but from my, I don't have a dog in the fight here. I don't see how Liverpool don't win 5-0.
No, do you know what? I had the radio on the other day as well, and not a Liverpool fan talking, but he was saying sevens and eights and all this kind of things. I'll take 1-0, mate. Honestly, I just want to keep the ball rolling in terms of hopefully heading towards the title. I think Mo Salah, what he said the last day or so, absolutely nailed it in that. Yes, we did win the league, but we want to see us win the league in the way we all thought we would win it and celebrating the ground and all of that kind of stuff. And we never got to do that with the title that was cut short by COVID, and then we won behind closed doors. So it's funny because my son reminded me the other day. I mean, I've been fortunate. I've seen Liverpool win everything pretty much, including the World Club Cup. I even went out to that, and I didn't. I obviously was not in the ground to see us lift the trophy, lift the Premier League. And the season I started going to the match was the 1990-91 season. So I can remember buying programs, and it said at the top of the program, "Champions of the Football League." But I endured every one of those 30 years where we didn't win the
Yeah,
thing.
yeah,
And
yeah.
then to win the thing and it not being the manner I dreamt of just kind of felt cruel. And so I said to my son this at the start of this season, I just want to see us win it. Like I want to see us win it in that like normal fashion. And he was going, "Dad, you will see it. You will see it." None of us thought it would be this season, though. Honestly,
No,
we did not
no.
think it would be this season. But the way it's unfolded, where we are, of course, we're now. It's hard not to think that way. And look, you're right, mate. Look, crunch all the numbers, do whatever you want. We should be beating Man United. They aren't good. They aren't great. They're far from it. I almost feel a little bit sorry for the new manager.
Yeah.
I look at him on the sidelines there, and I just think, did he really realise what he was walking into? Because it doesn't look like, does it?
No, they're
Do you
all
know what I
over the
mean?
place. They're all over the
Yeah.
place. This isn't a reflection on Amorim at all. I don't think there's an amount of tactical tweaks that any manager could do to this crop
No,
of players. I think they're
no.
they're a dreadful crop of players on every metric, both in terms of their ability and in terms of their application. I don't think they're very good. But it's not really about them. When I'm kind of trying to come to my rationale as to why I think Liverpool are so good and why I think that they're going to beat Manchester United, it's not really about Manchester United. Look, that adds to it, but you're just unbelievable. The only way I can see them doing anything in this game, it's it's like a puncher's chance. And I suppose, remember the FA Cup game last year? They beat you 4-3 in the cup.
Mm. I
that
went, yeah.
that is the gate. That kind of thing. But that's like a lightning strike, isn't it? You're so much better than they are. They're all over the place. Bruno Fernandes getting sent off every week. Marcus Rashford not in the squad. Amarim not really knowing what his best team is. Joshua Zirkzee being booed off by his own fans.
Uh-huh.
Like that's just not the culture of Manchester United. They're in disarray. You're excellent. This is setting up for a 5-0 win. I just don't see how it doesn't go that way. If you try and remove, which is impossible, I suppose, but if you try and remove the tribalism and the bias that you have in favour of Liverpool, you're going to batter them, aren't you?
Well, look, one thing, you got me thinking there about that game, and you got me thinking about sort of us under Klopp as well. And look, we were fantastic under Klopp, and I loved every minute of it, and I loved that man, and I always will. But I think under Slot, we're just slightly more measured, slightly more structured. We take our time a little bit more in terms of picking the moment to go for the chance. And I don't know, there are stats on there that show quality of chance. I haven't gone and looked that up, but I would suggest that we create a better quality of chance now, maybe because it's less intense, because we pick our moments. It's almost like when we do pick our moment, we tend to score.
Yeah.
And so I can't see really them just keep. I can't see them keeping us out. Ultimately, they're not going to come and open up. They're not going to come and have a go at us. They haven't got the players to do that. So ultimately, you imagine it's just a case of can Liverpool take their chances? And of course, we've all seen days where our team can't. But everyone's on fire as well. I
Yeah.
mean, Mo Salah's in unbelievable form. So's Cody Gakpo. So's Louis Diaz. So take your pick. And like Szoboszlai could potentially be back in the side. He looked great last time he was in the side. We put 5 past West Ham, etc.,
Yeah.
etc. So you're right, mate. Everything suggests that we should be doing them and doing them significantly. And look, I seen the odds the other day. And bearing in mind, there's just 2 teams playing each other at a game of football. I'm getting 9-1 on Man
Yeah. It's
United.
crazy. It's
It's
crazy.
unbelievable, mate.
It,
I can't remember a time that I've seen Man United 9-1 coming to Anfield.
no, 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 no. This is uncharted territory, certainly from my memory, and possibly ever. You know, when you mentioned Luis Diaz there, can I get your thoughts on him, Robbo? Because I think Mo Salah, and rightly so, Mo Salah gets the plaudits, he gets the
Mm.
adulation, and I think he most certainly deserves that. But you remember, it reminds me a little bit, and I mentioned this in a video that I did the other day. A few years ago, half a decade or so ago, there was a very good viral clip that went around, and it was a young lad talking about Sadio Mane, right? And he was talking about Mane outside Anfield,
I remember.
Scouse kid,
Yeah.
and he was saying Mane's the best player in the world, and it seemed like quite a bold statement at the time. But because of Mohamed Salah's brilliance, Mane didn't necessarily get the adulation that he deserved.
Hmm.
Is that kind of going on a little bit with Diaz? If Salah wasn't so good, would we be talking about Diaz in a different light? Because every time I see him play, I feel like he's quietly going about becoming one of the best footballers in the world.
Yeah, he's been fantastic this season, and I think he's another one. He's another example where it's a real testament to what Slot's done. So he always had talent, but I would say there was a big question mark around his end product. So we knew he could beat a man, but he had a little bit of that sort of street footballer about him where he could beat a man, he beat him again, but then like he sometimes it felt like he arrived in the box and he was that knackered
Yeah,
after beating so many men he couldn't get a decent shot off or he couldn't pick a pass. And I think Slot recognised that really early on. And he's tweaked things and he's put them in different positions. And sometimes he's playing through the middle and all that kind of stuff. And his output's suddenly gone through the roof. Like he's already matched what he did for the whole of last season now.
yeah,
And there's months and months of the season to go. So you're right. He's been fantastic, and you can only focus on so many good players at once. I think Slot in his conference was saying, talking about Mo, being asked about Mo again, and he was like, Van Dijk's been brilliant.
yeah,
And so
yeah.
we put a bit of a focus onto Van Dijk, and he's another one where hardly anyone is talking about the fact that he's been brilliant because
Mm,
all the focus is oh my God, Mo scored again. Oh my God, another assist. Oh my God, another man of the match. And he's always the story lately, isn't he? And
mm.
Van Dijk, meanwhile, is quietly leading the team to something no one expected, putting brilliant performances in, week out. Being a proper captain on and off the pitch. And
Yeah.
I mean, we're noticing, don't get me wrong, we're talking about it every time we go to the match, but wider world doesn't really seem to be saying anything about it. Same goes for Diaz, I would say, yeah.
How's he done this, Slot? It's like this control that he now exerts on games. It's unbelievable. And you mentioned earlier in this video, you mentioned that you didn't anticipate it going as well as it's going. How's this happened? It's like this is historic what we're witnessing here, isn't it? This is like this is beyond anything that anyone could have predicted at all.
Absolutely. And look, there's plenty of talk, and it annoys me a little bit about how determined people are to make everything negative sometimes, especially online. And so you get all this stuff as though, like, everyone's absolutely incompetent at the club because there's three players who've reached this point in the contract negotiations, etc. Well, okay, the same people though brought in Arne Slot. So
Yeah.
do they not deserve credit for that? Richard Hughes was involved in that, and yet apparently he's the worst sporting director going, if you listen to some people online. So he's come in. They've obviously thought long and hard about it. They've looked at him. They've done the due diligence. They've read the dossiers, whatever. And then he's walked through the door, and it's just been seamless, and it's been unbelievable. And there were just bits and bobs that one was coming from the Dutch league, coming to the Premier League. It's just such a difference, isn't it? We've seen it before. The light burns much brighter in the Premier League. It has to do much more media work and all that kind of stuff. And I thought, well, how's he going to deal with all that? And the answer is brilliantly. He's been superb. The media side of Arne Slot, I think, has been, he's nailed it almost week after week. Even when he sort of like threw in a little swear word and things like that.
Yeah.
But we've loved that anyway. That's been great. And there's so much, mate, that he's got right, and there's so there's a ruthless streak in him. You saw that day one, took Kwanzaa off at half time, just said, okay, you're not winning your 50-50s off, you're on. And there was a game where he took Trent off, and Trent had a little paddy on the bench.
That's right,
And you saw Slot walk round and sit next to him, and basically, I don't know what he said, but you would guess it was along the lines of, no.
Yeah.
We don't do that.
Yeah.
Keep the professionalism going here. We don't do that. Everyone's looking at you. What are you doing? Respect the decision. Crack on. And and he's took Mo off. And Mo was always clashing at times with Klopp over. He didn't want to be taken off, or he wanted to be starting. And you could see it. There was a time where they literally clashed on the touchline. So, and again, whatever Slot says or however he does it, it doesn't seem to get up anyone's nose. And I think it's just because he just seems the same man no matter what. Like, I am this man. I don't really go too much up or too much down. And even things like, the run of form is unbelievable. The amount of wins is unbelievable. The only defeat is the Nottingham Forest. And he just, we're praying for him to walk over to the Kop after some of these victories, whip his top off and give it the big one, whatever. And just every time it's just I don't do that. And we're willing them on. We're going, people are literally going, come and do the Klopp thing. And he's like, I'm not Jurgen Klopp, lad. See you later.
Yeah, it's good, isn't it? It's good to be his own man, his own identity, his own approach to the whole situation. No, it really is. It really is so impressive. It was 2 years ago you won 7-0, right? That was the season before last.
Yeah.
2 years ago, 7-0. Are you dreaming? Like, is it like that 7-0 is one of the most ridiculous games, one of the worst things that's ever happened to Manchester United. I imagine that your grandchildren's grandchildren will sing in the Kop about that result. I don't know if I'm going crazy here, but I honestly think it, Rob. And I don't want to say it. I don't want to even make it about you saying it because, this is harder for you. It's your team. It's your rivalry. But honestly, I believe that you are just going to annihilate them because they're just all over the place. Is this the worst Manchester United team that you can remember?
It's got to be, hasn't it? I mean, I looked before and we're 23 points ahead of them with a game in hand.
Season. Halfway through the season. Game in hand.
It's mad. And the closer to Everton than they are to Liverpool.
Yeah.
And it's, I mean, I was being a bit daft on our podcast this week and I said, and this was before United got beat again. Then I was saying, if you put Everton and Man United's points together, they're still 6 points ahead of the pair of them.
Right.
And obviously that is a part of supporting your team, isn't it? And look, I've had stick over the years of Everton and Man United fans say, "Well, why are you always talking about us?" And I'm like, because it's a part of
That's
supporting
football.
this
That's
club.
what it is.
Yeah,
Rivalry is a huge
exactly.
integral
And
part of the game. Yeah.
I can remember, from all the way through junior school, all the way through senior school, giving the Blues stick and them giving me stick. And then, dawn of the internet, it definitely
Yeah.
carried on, etc.
Oh
And
mate,
here
there's
I am,
nothing wrong.
fully
There's
grown
nothing
man.
wrong with that,
There's
Rob. Do you
nothing
know
wrong
what?
with
I
it,
was
is there?
away. I was away over New Year, right? I was in Centre Parks. I took my kids to Centre Parks, but I still found the time to watch Queens Park Rangers play Watford. I left when they were 3-1 up. But if Queens Park Rangers had been losing that game, I'd have watched the 90 minutes.
But
Is it?
exactly,
It's
and
important.
it's part of it, isn't it, mate? It's right. I'm glad you said that
Yeah.
because some people get really obsessed about it and say, you shouldn't be doing that and just concentrate on your own team. Like, since when?
Yeah.
That's not a thing.
No, exactly. I know.
So, so
It's,
look, I
it's
mean,
definitely the rivalry's huge.
I'm on here and I'm wondering in my head about who might watch it and all the rest of it. But they are quite clearly crap, and also as well, there's just so many problems at the club as well. It's so
Yeah.
badly run. Ratcliffe is an absolutely terrible fella by all accounts.
Yeah.
And look, another thing just while I'm on as well, because I'm sure you won't mind me mentioning, is that yet again we're going to come together with rival fans, and it's a big one when we're coming together with Man United fans, isn't it? Let's be honest.
Yeah.
And we're going to hold up the Stop Exploiting Loyalty banner once again from the Football Supporters Association. We're also having a little sort of meet with some of the 1958 group pre-match, and we're going to have a little sit down with some journalists and talk about, why we're coming together over ticket prices, why we're coming together over concessions being targeted and all that kind of thing. So hopefully that gets some bits of media, and hopefully we'll have the banners inside the ground as well, because I think what has gone on at Man United should be worrying every football fan out
Yeah.
there. The fact that an owner can just click his fingers in the middle of a season and say, actually, no concessions. Actually, I'm putting the ticket prices up, and there's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah.
That really should worry fans. And look, there is a real power, and mate, that there is a real power in rival fans coming together. It's the thing that
Especially you
boardrooms
two.
and the Premier League, yeah, they don't want
Especially
to see. They
biggest
don't
clubs,
want to see
biggest
that.
clubs in the country, biggest fan bases in the country, who have nothing but antipathy for each other under normal circumstances, are being forced to work in unison. It shows you
Yeah.
the depth of the issue, doesn't it?
Absolutely, mate. And so that's happening as well on Sunday, pre-match. And then once it's all done and once we took our photos and all the rest of it, normal service will resume and we'll go
Yeah.
and get stuck into the ground. And hopefully, look, I really do hope it unfolds the way you and many others are saying, that it is an easy win for Liverpool. It does look on paper, doesn't it, like the worst possible type of side that they would want to face right now, with so many free
Yeah.
flowing with attackers all over the pitch and all that kind of stuff. You just there looks too many holes for them to plug, basically.
Also, they keep
Um,
getting beat. They've been beat by Tottenham,
yeah,
Bournemouth. What Wolves done them, didn't they? Like they're
yeah.
being beaten every week. So no, I think the
I
owners are
just, I
good
mean,
for you.
did you see the news today about the dish? They're starting to like dish out deals as well to like players where you're like, well, I thought you'd let him go, mate. To be honest, and he's saying things like there's a dearth of leadership among their players, and you're like, because I've never understood. Like you mentioned 7-0. Fernandez that day was indicating that he wanted to be substituted.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So how does he ever go near the armband after that?
I know
That's not a
it's
leader.
atrocious. He is a very good footballer and an atrocious captain. But then prior to that, it
Absolutely.
was Harry Maguire, and Harry Maguire is quite a valiant player. He tries his best, but not captain material. I
But
remember
that's
he
who I'm
scored
talking
for
about.
England.
That
Yeah, no
they're on about
Maguire.
giving him a
Are
deal.
they giving it
Yeah,
back to Maguire? Oh that's just
they're giving
absolutely
him a new.
ludicrous.
They're giving him
Lu-
another year because he's saying there's a dearth in leadership, and it's like
I mean,
these
this
aren't
is this is
players.
so bad. I mean, it's like if this were the Glazers doing it, like Ratcliffe and Ineos, because they're new, they're getting away with it here. Like it's so unacceptable what's happening. Also, Rob, do you know what you were just talking about there? The anything that I can pin, I'll pin it as a comment. Send it across to me, and I'll put anything regarding that coming together from the Football Supporters Federation, and I'll
Cheers,
pin it
mate.
to the top. Listen, do you
Brilliant.
know what? As much as it's a very tricky one for me because I now have to concede that we can't win the league. If it's you or Arsenal, I need it to be you. and I certainly enjoy Manchester United's pitfalls. So my prediction that you're going to go one better than the 7-0 that happened a couple of years ago, on some level, I kind of hope it to be true.
I was going to ask you about yourselves. I know I'm not meant to be interviewing you, but you know, I had my friends who I go to match with and stuff, and they were saying no, they are contenders, and I was like, okay, well, I'm listening to their manager saying they're not, and I said, and I look at him when he's saying it, and he doesn't look like a man who's lying to me. He seems to me he's saying, look, in these match situations when we're allowing that chance late on, that shows we're not ready to win a league title. We're not grown up enough, we're not sure enough, all the rest of it. You obviously got beat by Ipswich.
Yeah. Oh, we've had a terrible Christmas, man. We've had a terrible Christmas. Like
that was the one for me where I thought that doesn't look like a title challenge. No.
Do you know what? There was the warning signs were there. We drew away at Everton. I think you can always position a Goodison Park point as a good point if you surround it with victories. But it's a really bad point if you then lose at home to Fulham, and it's a terrible point if you then lose away at Portman Road. So no, it's not us for the league. It's you or Arsenal, and therefore it has to be you.
I hope so, honestly.
Mate, and so do I. I'll tell you what. It's come to something in it when you've got a Chelsea fan cheering you on.
I know, who would have known it?
Yeah.
And look, I see plenty of people who say that they think you're actually very fair about us, and I would agree on that point as well. And thanks for having me on again, mate.
Oh, mate, it's always an honour, and fantastic work with the Football Supporters Federation as always, Robbo. Keep up the good work, mate. I look forward to speaking to you again soon, and good luck on the weekend.
Thank you, mate.
So there we have it. Thank you so much to everyone for watching this video. I really hope you've enjoyed it. If you have, please let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Give it a like, click subscribe, and let me know your score predictions. Cannot wait to see what you have to say in the comments. In a bit.